thank you all for being here in these times. I know that it's serious. So, me and my colleague, Dr. Clark, we're here to answer your questions. Now, we don't know the full severity of the situation. We don't know who and who are infected. We don't know which areas, but we're here to give you a little background information to answer your questions to make you feel more comfortable, okay? So please be respectful, okay? Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Johnny, so we know that the yellow fever virus is very prominent in today's society. So we just want you to just give a debrief of what the virus is all about for those back home.
Okay, so thank you for that question. As we go further in the press conference, you'll get more information. But for now, I'll just give you the basic. So, yellow fever virus is something that is transmitted through a mosquito. And don't worry about your farm animals, it only affects humans, so secure yourself and don't worry about that. So, for now, that's all you need to know. It is a virus that is transmitted through mosquitoes. So, next question, please.
Hi, I am Jody Johnson, and I read somewhere that the yellow fever virus is a single-strand positive RNA, and it is transmitted through the viral membrane of the Aedes aegypti mosquito, and through this, the host and the cell membrane inside reacts to the protein of the RNA. Is this true?
Okay, firstly, Ms. Johnson, you did your research, so good. But yes, this is indeed factual. What you said is correct.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Miss Gail from the TVJ station. So I have two questions here. How is the virus transmitted? Could we get a deeper analogy on that? And can the virus be controlled?
Okay, so yes, the virus can be controlled. It can be controlled through vaccination and mosquito control. And the virus is spread through mosquito bites from the Aedes aegypti mosquitoes.
Okay, so basically what Dr. Clark said.
The female mosquitoes that carries the virus, and they aren't the one that produces the virus. They just transmit it from one host to another. So they bite someone with the virus and then they transmit it. So they don't really generate the virus themselves. I just wanted to clear that up. Okay. Next question, please.
We're going to talk about the replication of the virus. So we just want you to talk about how does this virus replicate and the particles in terms of how it assembles.
As regards to the replication of the virus, it first enters the cell through biting, as I previously stated, and then it releases its RNA, and that RNA is used to make copies of itself. So it basically invades the cell and it takes over, it starts to make copies, and then after a while the symptoms start to show, which we'll touch on further. But the symptoms start to show, that's when you know that the replication has become more and more.
Okay, so how does the particles assemble? A new viral core forms and you gain an envelope in the ER. So it matures in the gallbladder and it is released as an infectious particle.
Okay, thank you.
So I heard you mention a couple of things which I'm not sure the definition, and I'm sure the persons watching would not be sure, but I just want to ask, what exactly is an envelope?
Okay, good question. So we know of the normal envelope that we get or letters in. So in the scientific world, it's not really that different. So the envelope is basically like a wrapper for the virus in order for it to like disguise itself to come into the cell, because you know that our so the envelope is like a blanket for the virus for it to invade our immune system. You know that our immune system is designed to detect anything that is foreign and get rid of it. So in order for the virus to be able to multiply in our bodies, it has to have something to cover it so that it isn't detected by our immune system. So an envelope is basically a wrapper, covering anything that can disguise it in order for it to invade. So that's basically what it is.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Next question.
Another question is about the rate of infection. What has the rate of infection been like this year worldwide? And could you comment on the no data record found in the Caribbean?
Okay, so first, on the first question about the rate worldwide. So this year, yellow fever cases has increased in some South American and African countries where the disease was naturally found. But with the fact of there is no record of data for the Caribbean hasn't reported any recent cases, which likely means the risk of this disease in the Caribbean is low. But it does not mean that the disease cannot appear. So it simply means that there's no confirmed cases that were recorded.
Yes, and to add to what my colleague said, I'm just imploring you once more to be careful, because even though there aren't any recorded cases yet, we do live in a tropical area and this is where the disease thrives, so please be careful. Yeah.
What are some of the tests that can detect yellow fever virus?
Okay, good question. So we have multiple tests. I'm not going to be too scientific, but you have the PCR test. This is a polymerase chain reaction, and it basically detects the viral RNA in the early infection stages. So before it becomes too detrimental, we detect the DNA of it before it starts to replicate. So that's one of the detection agencies. And we have IgM ELISA, and this also detects the yellow fever virus, but it is specific to antibodies after a few days after the symptoms. So the PCR, this is the one that we use before the symptoms start to show, and it is the most recommended one because we want to prevent, we don't want to cure. And then we have the IgM, this is the one that we use after symptoms. And I don't recall if we had said anything about the symptoms, so if you see anything like fever, muscle pain, and nausea, anything of that sort, then you can please just check a doctor.
Also to add, the PCR and the IgM are both just simple blood tests. It isn't any major, like you would have a CT scan or MRI. It's just two simple blood tests.
Yes, no invasion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next question.
So how the doctor will determine the severity if the symptoms are limited?
Okay, to see how serious the illness is, doctors check for the patient's symptoms and do blood tests to make sure the liver and the other organs are still properly working.
Okay, and
So-
can you be specific with the days? You were talking about the timing, but we only heard words like recent. So are there any specific days in terms of the test time? How long would it take?
Okay, so for the PCR test, it's an early infection, so it's 1 to 6 days, and then for the IgG test, it can be tested after 5 days of the symptoms. So that's the timing of the test.
Okay, another question. While you were speaking toward the symptoms, you said about checking the liver, something like that.
Yes.
So does that mean it only affects the liver? What other parts in the body does it affect?
It does not necessarily only affect the liver, but the liver is just the most targeted organ. But it affects different parts of the body. Just as we said, one of the signs and symptoms is muscle pain. So obviously that shows you that it affects our muscles. It also affects bone.
Alright, so I have a question. How can it impact our society today?
Okay, so the yellow fever virus, it can have a bit of a negative impact on our society because it can cause a strain on the healthcare system because severe cases need hospital care and it needs very close monitoring. It also reduces work productivity since sick people cannot work basically, and work they cannot work, so they will need time to recover, and then that will also hurt the economy.
Yeah, and in relation to the economy, you know that when there is any form of sickness outbreak, then the tourism sector is normally the area that gets affected the most. Yes, you know that in the Caribbean, especially Jamaica, we very much rely on our tourism sector. So that's another way that impacts our society.
What can we do to lessen the impact on our society?
Okay, so first of all, the most important thing that you can do is try your best to not get infected. And the best way to do that is to check around your environment. We know this from previous cases and previous diseases that are transmitted through mosquitoes, that you should get rid of anything that contains water. You know that that is the main reason and the main cause of the different mosquito viruses that come around, so get rid of those. Wear tall clothing, stay away from people, even though it isn't necessarily transmitted through contact, but it is still a danger. So that is one of the main things that you can do.
Okay, and our next question. We want to know if this is true or not. Is it true that there is no specific cure for yellow fever?
Okay, I wouldn't say no specific cure. We aren't really trying to scare the masses, but right now, we are in the process of finding a treatment. I wouldn't say cure because it cannot be completely cured, but it can be treated, it can be controlled. We are currently working on vaccines to help, so I implore you to wait, do not be scared. And there isn't any cure, but there are possible treatments that are coming.
So would you say prevention is better than the cure?
Well, considering there is no cure, there is only prevention. So that's the only option we have. So once again, guys, make sure, yes, keep yourself safe and keep your environment clean.
So what is the best form of the prevention and protection right now, since there's no cure? So what would you say is the best form of prevention and protection?
It's a good question. So the positive side of this is that we have been through a similar situation as well. As I have stated before, this is transmitted by mosquitoes. So we can use the same things that we used before. So get rid of the breeding sites, the old tires, the cans, the drums in our backyards. Make sure that we put bleach in them, put oil in them, to make sure that the breeding sites are completely gone. Also, in your supermarkets, you know that there are various products that help you have mosquito repellents, you have destroyers, so make sure you buy those things to use in your household to help you to prevent it.
What about the vaccine?
The vaccine, it is currently being developed. It isn't completely developed as yet, but we do have progress.
Okay, thank you.
We just now spoke about prevention and getting rid of breeding sites. And as mentioned earlier, you said multiple times that mosquitoes are the cause of this virus. So give us a little bit of information about that. How is it that
Okay, so the Aedes aegypti mosquitoes consists of 4 distinct stages. You have the egg, the larva, the pupa, and the adult. And the first 3 stages are aquatic. So that's how my colleague has constantly been talking about the water that is found in your yard and how to treat it. So the first 3 are aquatic, while the adult is the flying insect. The entire cycle can take as little as 7 to 10 days, depending on the environmental conditions, especially the temperature. But eggs can survive for months, and that is what allows the population to persist.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Okay, Dr. Downey. So you doctors have been talking about the life cycle of this mosquito. So we just want you to just delve more deeply into the female and the male mosquito in terms of the difference.
Okay, so that's a very good question. No, this is the first time I'm going to say this phrase, but the men are actually innocent in all of this. This is all caused by the women. The male mosquitoes, they feed on nectar, so their main source of food is flowers. The women now, the women mosquitoes, they bite humans in order to obtain our blood so that it can be nutrients for their egg production. So the male mosquitoes, they don't really contribute anything to the virus. The female mosquitoes, they are the ones that cause the virus.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's all the questions that we have for you guys today. Thank you for coming. Thank you for answering our questions. And if there is any more questions, who may we reach out to?
You could reach out to me as stated before, Dr. Clark and Dr.
Tony.
Right. So you can send us an email and we can answer any further questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
In conclusion, yellow fever remains a serious public health concern despite the progress made over the years. Through understanding its origin, structure, transmission, and detection methods, we discover key information into how this virus operates and affects human population. Although vaccination remains the most effective means of prevention, challenges such as limited vaccine access, weak health systems, and climate-related mosquito spread continue to create risk. Continued research, global cooperation, and public awareness are essential to fully eliminate yellow fever.
My name is Luciana Guido.
My name is Sasha Clark.
My name is Sonia Gill.
My name is Jody Johnson.
My name is Rashida Delney.
And we are Group 8, and this is our presentation on the yellow fever virus.